Welcome to episode 3 with special guests Papa Greed and X Think Different X.
Whoop, whoop.
Hello there.
So, what's everybody working on, guys? Myself, I'm working on some ink buy for my Dakari, and then following that, I'll have some 40 Cabalite Warriors and then 2 Talos Pain Engines. So, getting my Dakari through and through. I recently ordered my Thousand Suns Codex and 2 squads of Mandrakes. So, beefing up my ink buy a bit.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
What's everybody else working on?
So just now, I finished off some of my Tau, which George will be happy to hear about. I did that this week. And big up the Tau. Now I am working on some more Marines. And this is in honor of a chapter that King Flippy chose on TikTok. So I'm going for the Angel Sanguine scheme, which is the half and half with the black and red. So it's going to look super cool. I'm so excited to share it with you guys. Can't wait.
Oh, I got a glimpse of it on Instagram, I think.
Yeah, you got a sneak peek on Insta.
It does look very cool. It does look very good.
Thank you.
What are you working on, Papa Greed?
My part, I'm working always on my Grey Knights project. I've ever painted all the troops, and now stay the 2 Draenouts and 3 of my 5 Nemesis to paint.
Nice.
I just received my last 5th Nemesis, and I have 3 of them to paint. And I begin to learn playing on the board game, and have my first tournament this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. This week.
How exciting!
Yes, that's so exciting. Yeah. It'll be good. So I want all will be paint for this weekend. All I need.
Yes. How do you feel about the tournament?
Yeah. I will play. The tournament is 2 versus 2 players. I will go with a friend with more experimented than me. He will go with Harlequins, and I will complete with my Grey Knight. I think it will be a great combination, a great combo. And I find a similar playing than Harlequins with my Grey Knight, because you have a new combo with the Interceptors and the Rhino, and some skills you can use with the Interceptors, and you can move, shot, and go back into the Rhino and escape like Harlequins. So I think it will be really, really fun.
Is this your first tournament?
Yeah, it will be my first tournament, and I played only 2 or 3 games this month to prepare it.
Oh.
I went into my first tournament without any practice.
Well, to prepare it, we just played yesterday against Imperial Knights and Sisters of Battle.
Yeah.
And we lose 63 at 51, 61 to 53. But we just be unlucky with the dice rolls. But was a really balanced game. Really interesting.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to hearing about the results.
The better result was 63 to 51, and we lose 14 points in the 3rd turn, just because I missed every dice roll. I had a hit. I had 18 hits on Sisters. The 18 hits, 2 plus for touching and 2 plus for blessed, for wand. I missed all. I do only 1, only ace. I succeed 3 shots on the 18th dices. I succeed just 3 shots. on 2+.
That's crazy.
And the guy succeed all this save with a 666.
Oh, no way.
What the fuck? And with 10 points just on that.
So one thing I always find interesting and love about this hobby is people's story and how they got into it. X think different X. So what's your obviously you're very new to the hobby. We just had a discussion before we started the podcast. As a newcomer to the hobby, and how welcome do you feel into the world of Warhammer with all the community and like how welcome do you feel in general? Do you feel comfortable with the hobby and do you get on with everyone? Do you find you get a lot of good advice, painting tip wise and gameplay wise?
You guys all suck. No, seriously.
We try.
Nah, I'm kidding. Seriously, it's been so illuminating in so many ways and in such a good way. Like, for me, a lot of what you've just talked about is going completely over my head because for gameplay, I am clueless. I've never played a game. I joined the hobby 9 months ago purely for painting and building aspect of it. But I am super curious about gameplay and I am hoping to obviously get involved in that aspect of it as well, which is why I signed up to the Warhammer Imperium subscription as well. Because they're going to give like a play-by-play for noobs like me, which will be awesome because I think for beginner level, it'll just be something. That's the aspect that I'm really nervous about. I was explaining to the Wargamer just before we came on here, there's something so daunting about gameplay for me because in my head, I feel like everybody else is going to be more experienced than me or run out of patience with me because like I'm not good with like numbers and like stats and things and like at school I was terrible at maths and I know it's not about maths but like numbers give you the fear so it's like
I get what you mean, but like anyone that's not willing to have the patience to help you learn isn't worth playing with. Like
bless.
Everyone starts somewhere, so like it's so key that I'm sure you've got friends out there that will be willing to help you play, and they'll be patient. Just play smaller games to get your head around it.
Totally.
Anyone that's going to be like, oh, hurry up and learn. Nah, screw those dudes.
Hey, it's honestly been so eye-opening how welcoming, especially like I know you guys bigged up in your first podcast, like the TikTok community is just blowing my mind. Like for one, I've met all you guys. For two, it's like it was really daunting, like coming into this hobby that's been like predominantly male dominated as well. Like as a female, I think like although we're past like the whole sexist thing, I had a really bad experience at the very start of this. I was only like a month into the hobby on Facebook where I was being absolutely ripped to shreds on like a Necron group chat that had like 19,000 people in it.
Jesus.
Because of how I looked, like seriously, because people thought I was staging photos because like there's no way a girl that looks like you could be painting models like that. It's fake. You're fake. You're just in it for the likes. You're for this. And honestly,
oh my god, Facebook is so full of neckbeards though. Like it's so bad. Like I remember a situation that happened a while ago where it was like a girl took a photo of a model she painted, but like did it in a selfie way, so it showed her too. Same situation, ripped to shreds. Being like, you're just trying to show off yourself, not the model. And it's like, honestly, get the fuck over yourself. Like
that's what I got. Yeah, it was like, I wish I got this much likes, and I put a post of a badly focused model. It's just about you trying to get like your boobs out, not everything. You've no idea. Like I had a corset on at the time, okay, which is maybe it's a bit out there, but at the time I was literally I do some like actual modeling on the side of mini modeling, so I was in between like this photo shoot. So whilst like paint was drying, I was literally taking photos, and so the picture I uploaded, that was what the controversy was about. Me in a corset painting Necron models, and like the bloody chat thing just exploded. Like the moderators were having to work like full time for like all these guys.
That's insane.
Oh, it was scary. So that experience aside, honestly, everything has been super positive. Like, the TikTok community has been so welcoming, so encouraging. I haven't had one single bad experience. And as you said, people are more patient. They're more willing to encourage you. Like what you guys were saying about like hitting the 1K mark. Like when I started this, I didn't even think I'd have 10 followers, let alone reach
Right.
like that's you're at now, because I was never in it for that. And the community is just, there's so much love and support, and we're all bettering ourselves. Like, I've picked up so much new painting techniques. Papa Grade, for example, he was teaching me a different way how to use the Nylac oxide, with like putting like a contrast paint on top of that to bring out an effect on like my minotaurs. And like it's little things like that you don't forget. You remember who taught you that, and then you want to like repay them, like to help them back and stuff. So honestly, like I love how supportive everybody's been here. But yeah, it can be really daunting coming in. Like, all I kept thinking in my head is like, I'm old enough and big enough to handle the flack I got on Facebook. But if it was someone younger or more easily intimidated than me, that could have stopped that person from like continuing the hobby. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
for
Yeah.
sure, definitely.
On man.
Jinx, sorry, mate. Yeah, so just a question from your experience then. So anyone who may be listening to this podcast now, who is a woman, female, looking to get into the hobby, what would be your advice for them?
Oh, for starters, like, have confidence that you're doing it for your love for it, for your passion for it. Don't be deterred by like whatever anyone else says. And despite like that only one bad experience, the majority of other people there will be there to encourage you, to help you. Don't be scared to ask questions, and obviously go and find people like ourselves on platforms like TikTok's a really good platform for it. Facebook's toxic. Instagram is really good for tutorials and that as well. It's a case of just find the right platform that works for you and what you're doing the hobby for. If you're in it for the gameplay or the paint aspect, just match up with a line or follow the people that kind of reflect like your wants and needs. But totally go for it. It's so worth it. I was like someone that joined it because of the lockdowns and that here. Like, I think we were in lockdown number 3 in the UK when I decided to get into it at like Christmas time. And it's been a lifesaver in so many ways. Like, mentally, the benefits of sitting painting and playing with these little toys at night is like
Yeah.
it's sound too dodgy, but there is so much pleasure in these little toys. Like, we're all kids at heart, and like we don't give ourselves enough credit. Adult life, it sucks some days. Like, his average wargamer is on here at like 4 a.m. as he goes to do his day-to-day job. He can
Yeah.
vouch for how much adult life sucks, right?
Oh,
But
100%.
exactly. So we need a break from that. We need something for downtime to like chill your mind out, or you can have a laugh. And this hobby for me has been that. It's been my outlet to like socialize with people again without being able to physically see them, and improve skills such as like patience, because I had 0 before. But when you go and like paint a model, it takes like fucking ages to like do a tiny detail. It's inevitable that you learn some patience.
Yeah.
Good life skills in Warhammer. There
Yeah.
really is in this hobby for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. So
I have the same opinion. I have the same opinion than Annie. In fact, I come from several years of video gaming. I spent a lot of time in the gaming, and when I stopped it to come on the Warhammer world and Warhammer hobby, I just discover another community with no salt, no angry, just people will learn you how to play, how to paint, just as a big family. And you will never see nobody said about somebody, hey, you're a bloody painter. Hey, it's ugly. No, you just have people who said, hey, you can improve yourself. It's okay, mate. You have great ideas. Just maybe use wet palette, maybe more dilation, maybe that way. And you have only advice. You have just no salt, just guys who help you to improve yourself and improve your skills. It's really good, and I have a really good feeling about that community on Facebook, TikTok, or everybody else. I didn't see anybody just insult me because I'm a beginner or everything else. And it's the same thing when now I'm learning to play. I have friends who really take time to explain me everything, because in a board game you have a lot to think, a lot to know about the rules, the core rules, about your codex, about your location, about strategy. You have a lot to learn, a lot to sing, and they really take the time to explain you all the things. And with different battle, you can pretty quickly learn how to play and go to a tournament. Also, it's really a good mentality of players about the community on internet or with your real friends, physically. But I really have that opinion about the hobby and the community. It's really amazing and awesome. When I was in the gaming, it was, hey, you're bad, just get out. And insulting all the time, all the day, all the night. It's really different, and I'm really happy to stop one to go here now. And I discover you all, and you're just all amazing.
Oh,
Likewise, man.
You're too kind.
Likewise. But it's nice to know that, again, like, it shows that this community is so good, and there is more of the upside than to the downside of the Warhammer community. And it's really funny, and I was thinking about this the other day, how just successful Games Workshop are, but yet you never really see them advertised on TV, and yet they're like the biggest company out there, which is just odd. And I was thinking about it yesterday, I'm like, I've never seen Games Workshop ever advertised on TV. I mean, apart from the Imperium Magazine, but apart from
It's
that,
kind of like
you
one of
don't
those
see
things where it's
any
like,
Games Workshop adverts at all.
if you know what Warhammer is, you know what Games Workshop is, and if you don't know what Warhammer is, it's not really for you. But like,
Yeah.
it's a good point, especially here in Australia. Like, we would have even less. Like, we had the Mortal Realms magazine and the Conquest magazine come out. That wasn't advertised at all, and that was hard to pick up around the place because, like, even news agencies didn't even know what they were. But,
yeah.
like,
See, when I first
Yeah.
got into this hobby, there's definitely like, I don't know if it's the same for you, Papa Grey, but for me, part of the nervousness was like, it's almost like an elusive club. It's like trying to get into this like sneaky wee kink club. It's like, I've kind of heard of it, but like, do I need to bring something to like say that I'm like party wise now, or like there's something
oh,
like
bring snacks. Snacks are always good.
I'm kind of like, growing up, I'd heard of Warhammer because I had friends that were like kind of geeky that did it, but that's what you did. You kind of just wrote it off as like it's something that the geeks do and didn't really like look into it. So Games Workshop meant nothing to me. Warhammer did, but then only, again, a bit like Papa agreed, I was in some of the like gaming console things later, and then I'd come across the name in the gaming community, but I never really associated it with what it was all like, what was all entailed. And when I started having interest in it back in December, it was pure coincidental because one of my mates that I reconnected with was painting miniature Game of Thrones models, from like, was it a Song of Fire and Ice models, and they looked so badass, like the Black Watch and stuff. So I was like, ooh, mini painting, that looks so cool. So that's what triggered it for me, and it was in a conversation with him, and he's like, I was like, wow, have you been doing this for long? He's like, I've been doing Warhammer for 30 years. And I was like, Warhammer? 30 years? And I was like, wow. So it was through a conversation with him that I was like, I'm going to like fall down this rabbit hole. And very quickly, very quickly did fall down that rabbit hole. And like 9 months later, seriously, my cabinet would scare you because it's like ram-packed of different kinds of models now. But yeah, it does feel like there's a elusiveness about it. Despite its popularity, it's still only for a certain, not for a certain kind of person, but the into it can feel really intimidating, almost backdoor like. So it's weird.
Yeah, right. So
one thing
I wanted to add to what you're saying now, and also what we're talking about the TikTok community, is I started the hobby. It would have been like 14 years ago, and
Wow.
I was at school, and no one knew what it was. So I was so alone in the fact that like I had this hobby that like I'd carry the books around at school. No one had a clue what it was, and I spent a lot of my schooling years and even like my older teenage years without anyone actually even knowing what the hobby was. And then I took a break from the hobby because like no one knew about it. But then I made a friend who brought up that that's what he'd been playing for the last 10 years. And I was like, holy shit, like, why didn't you say anything? And he's like, well, why didn't you say anything? And I'm like, I don't know.
It's like so
yeah.
weird. It's like it's almost like it's perfect because it is ideal for like something you do on your own. Like it's almost like a loner thing at entry level.
Yeah.
But then you want to play with other people. And you know what? I actually think the benefit of what's happened now is people like yourselves and like the Wargamer who have years of experience. You guys are kind of getting to relive the beginning of that by helping people like us who are new to the hobby. You get to flash back to what it was like when you first came in and how the scene has changed and impart your like advice and stuff. And like I just think there's such a welcoming feel now, but it's like totally changed like table from what would have been like when you were first into it. Like how does that feel for
100%.
you? What's like now? Yeah
no, I love seeing all the new like the people starting up and they're just getting into it, painting their first little models and going like bought my first box, because I remember all that, but I did that alone. And now I get to see all these people sharing it with everyone, and that's incredible because like they don't have to feel that aloneness that we felt. And that's why TikTok's been so great, because the community is just incredible. Like I know all you guys and none of you are from Australia. And it's built that community with everyone, that you meet people you never would have met before. And especially during all the lockdowns and stuff, you just don't have to feel so alone.
Totally. We're worldwide, baby. It's insane. Like we've actually got friends like in every part of the continent now through a hobby that at one point in your life you and only you alone thought you were like with it, and now it's like expanded to like literally you have mates all over the world on the back of this hobby. So how fantastic that's a selling point. That's a selling point in its own.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, regarding my experience, because I've been doing 40k for 18 years, and I joined sort of midway through for 4th edition. I mean, it was kind of easy for me because my dad did the hobby, but much like yourself, average wargamer, no one in my school played the hobby, but they knew what it was. They have heard of it because in our local shopping centre, you had a Games Workshop right by the entrance, so you couldn't miss it. And because people in my secondary school knew I did Warhammer, I kind of got bullied for it. Or if they see me in the store, they would approach me. But the store managers or staff there always kind of like looked out for me because I'm always local to that shop, and I still am now. But over time, it didn't bother me. It is what it is, and I still enjoy the hobby today. The point is, if someone doesn't like it or says something about it, just ignore them. At the end of the day, if you enjoy the hobby, that's the main thing. You do you. It doesn't. Everyone's opinions are not always valid.
It's incredible, like the bullying aspect that comes with it. Like I obviously got it because like people would see the books that I was carrying around and reading in class, and they'd come and be like, "Oh, what's this?" And then they would, they'd just be dicks about it because they're like, "Oh, that's what you do. You're such a nerd," shit like that. But like being a nerd now is very, very different. Like back then, it was an insult. Like it was so bad to be called that. But now it's like something that so many people own, because even all those popular kids at school are out there playing Call of Duty and stuff, because like gaming's just made its way into pop culture so much that even stuff like this, like people are like, "Oh, okay, that's what you do. All right, cool, whatever."
Like, it's mainstream now, and everyone's more accepting. The culture's changed. Which has its good points and bad points. I think good for a lot of what you've discussed there's and people not feeling so secluded or alone. They've now got community, they can relate to their people. But the bad side, by like glamorizing it and making it popular, it's no longer that elusive little club that you get to sneak off to, or like something that's like maybe it was personal for you, and maybe you might not enjoy it the same when you're seeing it publicly displayed everywhere the same, or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it also brings in people like you were talking about with your Necron Facebook group, is that it brings in other types of people that aren't as pleasant to be around.
Yeah, for sure. Like, because most people, I feel, well, having said that, minus that Facebook experience, right, which I'm just chalking it down to, yeah, some people thought they were like, I don't know if it was because they had played it longer, or I don't know what the deal was, but it was obviously more a reflection of them than it was me at the time. But like, because the comments that
100%.
were personal, like about my looks, like there was no place for that. Like, I wouldn't dream of going on like the headset while playing my Xbox and screaming that somebody was an ugly shit because they played bad at Call of Duty. You know, like you just wouldn't do that. Like, it's irrelevant. I mean, I could have been sitting in a turtleneck, like for all I like, and they still would have found a reason to pick at me. It was just like for some people, they want to keep it for them, and then on the flip side, it's like, you know, it's that when we get back to gatekeeping, I know it's a term that's been thrown around a lot, but for those that have been in it since like the 80s, some of them don't like change or the diversity in it now, because some people did sign up for it to feel like they were almost like a superiority complex, I think. And I don't
Right.
know, do you know what I mean? Like, some people thought, yeah, I am the nerd. I am like I own this. Like,
Yeah, but see, that needs to be changed though, because it's not called James or Craig Workshop, you know?
exactly, exactly.
It's
It's
Games
not
Workshop for everybody.
exactly. It's I find that it's like anything you do, like, you know, even like the music scene, you see it. Like, I was a huge emo fan like back in the day, and even I've been guilty of being like, now that I see modern emo, I was like, oh, you never catch me like that. You know, you sometimes you're judgmental without realizing it, and I think this gaming's the same. The longer you're in it, the more some people are willing to diversify and change and accept that, because culture's changing all the time. Like, before, a nerd was a bad term. Now it's not. Like, if you go in hashtag nerd girl or gamer geek or something on like TikTok, like the billions of views, like, would that have happened back in like 1981? No, I don't think so.
No,
Like,
God, no.
yeah, it's a culture shift. People are more accepting, which is good. But there are still pockets of people out there who, I don't know, aren't so comfortable in themselves to accept the changes. And I think that
It's the loud minority.
yes, definitely. There's definitely well, we know how diverse our group is on TikTok. I know I keep referring to that, but it's because it's awesome to see. Like, I love scrolling through like all the people I follow and seeing the diversity of people who take part in Warhammer. It's so vast. Like, between ages, between color, between races, between sexual orientation, like, it's for everybody. Like, whereas
Exactly.
before, stereotypically, I would have just pictured like a lonely little English prep school boys, probably, like,
Yeah.
you know, even that's not
Or
fair,
big
but that
old
was
white
probably the
men.
reality.
Yeah, I want to come back about what say Wargamer just before, because I've discovered Warhammer World when I was teenage, maybe 15 years ago, and now I think, and I think it's important to talk about that. That today, if Warhammers are so popular, it's because we have social networks we didn't have 10 or 20 years before. And in the beginning of the hobby, you have few painters, and you need money to invest for playing, for everything. But now you have the you have a lot of social network with amazing model, amazing stuff you can see, but you have also tutorials. And if you are afraid to come in the hobby with all these amazing things you can see, you also have a lot of tutorials to learn more quickly, and it's easier to come now to the hobby. And I don't know how can I say in English because I have a bad English.
You're doing good, mate.
I'm
Yeah.
French. For people who don't know me, I'm French and I have really bad English. Okay, don't judge me.
I guess
But but what I want to say is that today we have a lot of people who come back to the hobby because you have a lot of tutorials and an amazing community for learning you what the way you have to take. And I think um, I think that now I don't know what I can say, but I think now with social networks, tutorials, and 3D printing, you have and magazines like you say before, magazines like Mortal Realms and Conquest. You can come back to the hobby for less money and with lot of help.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's what I want to say. And it's
You-
why today is really more um, popular.
Yes, definitely. Like we're going on about people being more accepting, but the reality is like it's more accessible because of social networking, because of sites even like eBay where you can buy things cheaper and worldwide rather than having to go specifically to a games workshop. There is a lot more opportunities there where people now have the platforms to share that they didn't before, you know. So like you average wargamer in Australia, we would never have been able to know that you were sitting alone at like whatever age you were at school doing that because you had no outlet to let people know what you were doing. Whereas I can now at the
Exactly.
touch screen sit in Scotland and be like, "Hey, bud, I've painted this today. What are you up to?" You know, and it's like
Yeah,
crazy, like how much technology has joined us all in some ways. You know, we always speak about the separation of like digital distance, but at the same time, to be able to do this that we're doing today is like insane. Like we're all sitting in different time zones, yet we're all collectively speaking about this and being able to share something we're passionate about. And for that, I'm truly thankful. Like that's a wonderful thing.
oh, exactly, 100%. I've always invested so much into this hobby, but never been able to get much out of it because it's just been me and a friend. But then, like, TikTok and everything's just helped it grow. Where it's like I've even got more friends here in Australia now that play it, but I've also got other people to talk to all around the world and just get different experiences from. So that's incredible.
So cool.
100%. We all need to meet at Forge Road. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Yes.
We do. We need to organize like a huge like world tour to the like
Oh,
Warhammer.
I'd be down.
Everybody,
Warhammer World TikTok takeover.
the place won't
Yeah.
know what to hit it. Seriously.
I just imagine all these people walking in with their phones recording, like, yeah, yeah. And everyone's just, yeah, that'd be good.
They'll communicate over the phones because nobody knows how to interact properly. They'd be like, "Hey, we're
We're
still
all,
with everybody by their
we're all
screen."
texting each other, like, oh, Wargamer, I'm here. Where are you? Oh, I see you. All right, I'll be over in a sec.
Oh,
Oh, man.
I'm standing by the Slanesh model. Can you see me now? Like,
It's like,
Look,
oh, yeah,
just
all
all
right,
goes
I'll
to
meet you
stuff
over at this big
Warhammer
display.
Okay, so if you can't see me, I'm dressed up as a stealth suit, so I'm going to be hard to find. But, I mean, regarding all this stuff, though, one thing I really want to get onto, talking about all models being released, is the release of the Imperium Magazine. Now, I've got the first Imperium Magazine with me, which comes with two miniatures. Which you get a Royal Warden for the Necrons and a Primaris Lieutenant for the Space Marines. One thing I find very interesting is X Think Different X, you brought this up, how you actually do get small games inside, even if it's just two models. You get a little, you get like some sort of clear tape measure kind of thing, and you get 6 dice. But it also tells you how to play the rules, and it's really cool. You get a free poster inside, and it tells you. And with the first magazine, you get told everything you get in the collection over time, and including the additional stuff if you decide to go for the premium subscription. Now, one thing I find really interesting is when I contacted for the subscription, they said there will be special editions that come out that you'll get a phone call for, but they will not be announced on the initial release. They'll call you up and say, "Oh, do you want this edition or not?" They'll tell you what it comes with, and it's up to you if you want it, which is really interesting because it means you have to pay a separate payment for those ones upon your general subscription, even if you have the premium one. So I'm interested to see what models you get there, because with the premium one, you get some Chaos Space Marines, Tyranids, Tau, and Orcs. But what else do we get? Is it a bigger collection upon these armies? So that's what I'm interested in.
See, this magazine isn't available for me in Australia yet. Like, even with Conquest, I had to wait, I think, about 6 months after you guys got it.
Oh,
so
that sucks.
It'll be interesting to see whether, like, they decide to bring this to Australia again. Then you guys can tell me if it's worth it.
Totally. Like, I know it is in the US though, so I'm surprised that Oz isn't getting it, because it's definitely in the US now.
Yeah, we take ages to get it.
Oh, well, you shouldn't live on the other side of the world, dude. That's the problem. You're literally the other side of the world.
Yeah, no, sorry about that.
It's all right. It's all right. We'll forgive you.
Just
Yeah,
miss
appreciate
we are talking about Conquest and the magazines. I have a question. I want to know about you. What's your opinion about the new Warhammer TV, the Warhammer Plus TV? What do you think about this?
I haven't checked it out yet personally. I got the email regarding it, and one of my mates has downloaded the Warhammer Plus. I heard there was a lot of bugs on it though for its initial release, and you couldn't actually watch it properly on TV. But yeah, no, talk to me about it. What's all in it? Has any of you guys gotten it, or?
So
I've got Warhammer Plus, but I haven't used the actual, like, shows yet. It's just because I upgraded. I already paid for the subscription for the app, so I just upgraded that and picked myself the nice Vindicare model. So hopefully in a year's time I'll get that.
Nice.
But yeah, I haven't actually watched any of the shows yet. So as far as I can say, it's been worth it for the app, but that's all I got.
Yeah, because it's like, well, it's £4.99 here. So what is it in dollars? With you?
Yeah, so it's $10 a month for me here in Australia.
Okay. Yeah. So it'll be worth it, though, do you think, for value for money, for what you're getting content-wise?
Oh, 100%. Like, the app itself was $5 a month that I was paying for.
Okay.
So then that's going to be $60 by the end of the year, what I would have already been paying on the app. And then a Vindicare model itself is like $60 for a basic one.
Yeah, your model alone is worth it. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and the fact you get a new one every year. And then I signed up, early, so I'm going to get that. I think it ends up being about $20 gift voucher in October. So now I've already gone over what I've already sort of spent.
Nice.
So, yeah, I think it's reasonable. I don't see why you wouldn't if you're already using that stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the whole reason I chose to go to it, because I was already using the app. I was already using the old Age of Sigmar app. So I might as well just put it all together.
Upgrade. Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Wargamer? Have you got it?
So no, I don't have it. The only app I have is the Warhammer app, where you just kind of make your basic 40k list and stuff like that. But it's quite interesting because I noticed that app initially at the start was $3.99, and it went down to $2.99, and now it's $1.99. Funny enough, so it's interesting to know that it's only actually going to be like an extra £3 if I just go for the Warhammer Plus. So, and I know you get that Warhammer app included with the subscription anyway, as well as the AOS app, and then all the shows you get to watch. So I think it will be something I'll definitely subscribe to, just because I love the Warhammer shows and anything animated wise. I think it's really good. I love the fact that because again, being younger, I had to rely on YouTubers like Mini Wargaming to watch like my Warhammer content. Now there's more stuff being produced by Games Workshop and say, oh, hey, look, we're doing more stuff now. So it's nice to see that we're getting all this stuff we never had before. So it's new, it's nice, it's fresh. So yeah, bring it on.
What about you, Papa Greed? Are you going to get the subscription?
No. In fact, it's my opinion, but we have a real problem in France. In fact, I don't find personally the interest to pay the same price as Netflix or Amazon Prime to have a specific Warhammer content with battle reports and tutorials. So we ever have that for free on YouTube, and even if the idea of Games Workshop is really good, I think it's a really good idea. The problem for me is the price. You will pay a lot for few content, and in particularly in my problem that we have no French translation. We have no French content. And if we don't speak English, we can just pay and go fuck ourselves. You understand? And the thing that the Game Workshop justifies the price with an exclusive miniature just you don't need. And I think for me, it's just a shame. But the idea is interesting. The content is interesting. But the problem for me is the price. Just that.
I understand.
And if you get it in mind, you have Warhammer Plus content to subscribe, Conquest Magazine to subscribe, White Dwarf to subscribe, Mortal Whims to subscribe, the new magazine to subscribe, and finally you will pay $100 just for content, and you don't ever buy any minis. There is a way. One day you have to choose, and I prefer keep my White Dwarf in French with tutorials, sceneries, battle report, and some good stuff, and let's Warhammer Plus apart, and we'll see later when
You don't need to sell your body yet, Papa Greed. You're fine. Just work away.
I think if I want to subscribe to Warhammer Plus, I have to sell my body a little bit more. But I'm not sure my wife will agree with that.
Oh man, your poor wife.
I'm really sorry, but I will let you on that point because my daughters need me, and really thank you to invite me to this podcast. I will not stay until the end, but I really have to go. I was happy to be here with you and listen you and share this moment with you.
Thank
you very much for coming on as a guest, Papa Greed. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Take care. Okay. See you soon.
Yeah, take care about you. Maybe I will come in live later, but now my daughters need me. Okay. Nice to see you and to hear you. See you later. Bye, mates. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Aww. Aww.
He's amazing, Papa Greed. Such a great guy.
So cool. Like, he's helped me out so much as well, like with the support with things, and that really stuck in my mind when I was painting the Minotaurs, and when I did my Necron, like Nihilak Oxide, I was like hardcore like rubbing it off, to give like the rust effect, and like when he's like, oh look, I just paint it on, I'm like, what? And like he showed me him painting it and then like putting like a contrast paint on top for my shields, and I just thought, oh, that technique is fantastic. So I used that, and yeah, it's always stuck on my mind. It's so cool to learn things from people. It's so cool.
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%, and it really does help to improve your hobby skills.
For
And
sure.
that's the beauty of TikTok, really, just meeting all these people and being able to learn all these new tricks and hobbies and stuff like that. So
It's the pushing of boundaries I really enjoy, because like when you are just doing things for yourself, you quite easily become complacent. So by that I mean, like, you get used to doing things your own way, and it becomes repetitive, and like you get a little bit lazy and like, oh, I'll just do it like this. But then like when you're mixing with other people, they like tend to strive you to want to either test out a new technique or improve on something you've never tried or try a new skill. I love that. Like what you Papa Good was saying about improving is, criticism is important if it's productive criticism. I think it's a fair comment to say to someone, look, that looks great, but you know what would make it even better? Rather than go into it with like, nah, this could be better. Like, people are still really positive and they want to help you get like the best out of what you're doing. And that's what I enjoy. I enjoy that people are still being honest, but in a nice way. Like, so constructive criticism rather than like anything like belittling, if that makes sense.
oh yeah, I know what you mean, 100%. And that's the good thing about the hobby as well. And it's having that combination of someone who's been in the hobby for a while to be able to help out someone new, to help the new people become experienced much more faster.
Definitely. And that I forgot, really, to be honest, like what he's saying about socials and YouTube. A prime example, before I painted my first marine, that's what I did. I studied like 3 YouTube tutorial videos to get an idea how to build up on the coat. So rather than just stick a lick of paint on and be done with it, like I was already looking into dry brushing techniques and how a shade works. And so my very first miniature looked really good still, because I did the study beforehand. Whereas when people were just starting this out like yourself years ago, you probably weren't even aware of those techniques initially. Well, you maybe got some assistance from your dad because you're second generation, but like a lot of that is like, is skills you learn over years of doing the hobby, whereas we're getting that at entry level, which is just, it's huge in its own right.
Oh yeah, definitely. So that's the thing. I never had like videos to rely on. It was more the case of like, it was either, oh, Dad, how do this, or oh, it's in a White Dwarf magazine.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you get some tutorial from a guy who works in Games Workshop and be like, okay, so these are the paints you use. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay, how do you do that? And I was like, oh, mix these two paints together and you get this. And I'm like, okay, but how much of this do I need and how much of that do I need?
I like how much parts this part, and yeah, it's all the learning. Like some of us take it for granted how accessible it is now, but yeah, trial and error. I still I still freeball everything. Like, I'm really bad for, like, I'll watch a tutorial and go like, oh, it's great. Then like when I crack on myself, I'm like, oh damn, fit my D in now. Like, I went absolutely like diverted into something absolutely crazy. But especially with my bases, I'm really bad for doing something, loving the effect, and then being like, how did I do that? Like, I kind of repeat the process. I need to start learning to write down my paints at least, because I swear I use like 10 paints and like the finished effect looks great. And then I go, shit, I've got 10 other models I need to do, and I can't
No,
remember how I did it.
I used to do exactly the same
Oh,
thing, and it's only till recently where I've been repainting. Well, I was repainting my Tau, and I'd done my Thousand Suns, and now my Dakari. I go on the notes on my phone, and I'll be like, right,
oh, clever boy, clever
and then I'll
boy.
be like, these are all the paints I use. It doesn't matter what order they're in. I know these are the paints because obviously over time, Games Workshop do this. They rename the name of
Yeah,
the paint, and it's
yeah.
like,
So
oh no,
first
it's like,
paint you made, yeah.
I think it was a paint called chainmail. It was like, do you have chainmail in, or like bolt gun metal? It's like, nah, it's not called that anymore. It's called, well,
It's
I don't know.
so
Is
It is so funny
uh,
that, because like my mate's exactly the same, because he's done it for 30 years. He'll be rattling off these paint names, and you'll be like, get yourself some of this. I'm like, Well, I kind of find that paint, and he's like, oh shit, yeah, they probably like discontinued it or renamed it something else. And I'm like, because he's rattling off these paint names, I'm like, what? Like, I've never heard of that. So he's the same, and then I'll say like a new paint name, and he'll be like, what's that? And I'll show him it, and he'll go like, oh, it's this one, and he'll like show me like the previous paint, and I think it's unreal. Like, it's things like that you don't realize until obviously you've been in it for so long that it changes. It's crazy.
Yeah, like the old ones used to be like Skull White and Goblin Green and Corn Red.
Yes!
Used to be so easy.
Snot Green was my favourite one.
Just Snot Green, that's a good one, yeah.
Yeah. I've actually got some of them here, hold on. So, and you had inks as well, like you had like blue ink, purple ink, stuff like that.
What?
Yeah, so you had inks before washes. So washes weren't a thing at the time. Yeah. So
like you're null oil but coloured, basically.
Yeah, so you didn't really have shades or washes. It was just inks. It was just you just used the ink on whatever it was.
Okay.
Oh look, that's another one. Ice blue. Yeah, that's original. Let's have a look.
Is it only over that the names got more obscure? Is it only over the years that they've made the most obscure names now?
Yeah, so they kind of link it to the models, I think.
Yeah, or the places, or like I find that like obviously when you're doing like the Marines, the different kinds of blues, like there's like 50 shades of blue, and they're all like attributed to different kinds of ultramarines.
I'm really glad you went with the blue then, so we didn't get the grey reference.
I was like, where are we going with this?
I've already mentioned a couple of kink things today, Average Wargamer. Didn't want to absolutely tarnish your podcast. So.
This is the point. Get into Warhammer. It's like, you want to bring out your inner kink? Join us.
50 shades of Citadel paints. Like, seriously, it's got a ring to it, does it?
Man, if they did that on Warhammer Plus, they'd get a lot more people come through, I reckon.
Yeah, my first subscribers. Questionable content for our Only Brushes account.
Yeah, for sure. So, should I crack on with these questions then that we've had submitted?
Shoot.
Yeah.
Sweet. So, I'm sorry if I absolutely butcher these names, but Tiana Bard, sorry if I've butchered your name, mate. Who is more unlucky, the Lamaters, Blood Angels, or Thousand Suns? And best luck with the podcast. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Lamenters, 100%. That's their thing. Like, they lost most of their fleet, and then they were like, all right, we're going to go save these Imperial Guard. And then on the way to Imperial Guard, encountered an entire Hive fleet. Like, they're just like, yeah, let's do the right thing, and died.
Yeah. It's kind of sad, really. You kind of feel sorry for them. It's like, oh yeah, we're like good people. We'll save everybody, and we're different to all these other Marine factions.
But then they get the worst luck.
Yeah, they pretty much get taken out straight away. Leprencon Paints asks, what's the Percenos faction and why is it Tau? I love that. And why is
that's
it Tau?
a lie.
For the greater good. Come on, man.
Don't get me wrong, I like my Tau, but Jakari all the way.
Percenos army. I'll definitely say this. Okay, it's not Tau. Yes, it's not Tau. I've got a soft spot for Tau, but I think.
Are you sure it's a soft spot, Jordan?
You're making it sound like I've got posters of stealth suits and crisis suits all over my walls and everything. Like, I'm completely obsessed. I mean, then again, I do have a poster of Shadow Sun. So yeah, I started now. I might as well just carry on at this point. But I think Percenos faction. I think Orcs. They've been great from the beginning. They're great now. I've always loved Orcs, and I'll be getting my own Orc army. I think they're great. Just they're so unique. They've always been awesome. So
Fair point. My
yeah.
orc will gene steal it up because Tyranids and gene stealers are cool.
Totally.
Oh yeah, Repaints by Emily has put opinion on the new orcs in general. I'm assuming this is the Beast Snagger stuff we covered last time.
Not just that, new orcs have gone on pre-order. Like
and
the codex
back
and all that. They have the combat patrol box.
Have you seen what's in that combat patrol box?
Yes, it is very good.
It is phenomenal, and I am picking that up.
100%. Yeah, those
Like,
death copters though.
Like, I'm not just going to embrace my inner chi with orcs, I'm also embracing my inner Daka. So, meditate, hydrate, Daka, eliminate. I feel like I've just done like a whole new shirt brand, just like, yeah, get it printed. At Karn44 has asked, what is the best way to Tau in ninth? Got a friend playing Tau. I've got limited experience playing against them. Whew. So this is really tough. So from personal experience, tough. Tau are not really in their prime right now. In fact, they are one of the worst armies ever, just because everything else is getting updated. Tau are not really getting anything at all. But from how I would play them is set the back, shoot, use your mark lights. If you want to go something combat orientated, take Kroot because they're your best bet. But if you want even something better than Kroot in combat, then your standard crisis suits they're gonna do the job. I would take flamers with them, and I think it's auto targeting, no, advanced targeting system, because obviously on the 5 and the 6, you get the free Overwatch because you don't have to spend CP for it. The advanced targeting system makes the flamethrowers automatically. Actually, no, I think you don't have to do the hit because I think they automatically hit, I believe. So you don't even got to roll to hit, you just got to roll to wound, and the flamers get a -1 AP. So flamers on crisis suits all the way, and fusion blasters. That's how I would play Tau.
Since picking up Tau, I've really looked into the codex and tried to find ways to kind of make them work because they are falling behind quite a bit. But I think with 9th edition, it's such an objective-based game that you need to rely on a lot of the fast-moving and early-moving stuff. So I think Piranhas and Pathfinders can be absolutely vital to winning points early on in the game. And I think with Tau, so many people are caught up with the old gunline style lists that, yeah, okay, they might be really good at shooting and they might be able to kill plenty of stuff, but they're not scoring enough points, which is why they're underperforming so well in certain areas. Like my Tau list that I play now, I run breaches in a devilfish so that I can move them wherever I want, and then having that shotgun to be able to just clear something off an objective helps. The Pathfinders that get to move before the game even starts means you're putting them that much further up the board. And then Piranhas as well, just being able to pop into corners really quickly and score you things like engage, or even just tie up the opponent in a way that draws attention away from your other units like your Riptides and that. So I think
100%.
Tau to be successful now, you really need to push on the mobility that they can bring instead of just being a gun line like they used to.
Yeah.
I think Vespid Stingwings could be added to that because they can drop from 9 inches away from enemy units as well.
100%. Another good unit that I reckon not enough Tau players use.
100%.
I think, honestly, like it's controversial, but if you want to play Tau competitively, I think you need to bring Kroot carnivore squads over strike squads because you're just not getting enough out of those strike squads when they're just sitting there. And it makes your army rely on just sitting on one spot. Whereas if you have those crew, they even get a first, like before the game, they get to move. So if you want to play tower in a more competitive way, I think the best way to do it is by really honing in on all those fast things like the piranhas, the vespids, your crew, your pathfinders, and then bring some bigger suits to help bring that firepower that you need.
Oh yeah, definitely, 100%. At Brock Paint War has asked, where do baby Ogren come from? Not even like to hesitate that. To come from, but I do not know.
What is Baby Organ?
So Ogrens are models for the guardsmen, I believe.
Okay.
They're the big kind of guardsmen with these big sort of cannon-y looking shotgun kind of things.
Cool.
But they're fantastic models for the Imperial Guardsmen. But where Baby Ogren come from, at Barely Painted has asked, what is the best taste in paint? Oh, best taste in paint. Or not green.
I like liquid green stuff because it's chewy.
Yeah.
If it was an old paint, I would have said, what was the red used to be?
Was it corn red?
Yeah, corn red.
Yeah.
Blood for the blood of God. Gone for the
Anything.
cornflakes. Fish for the fish guns. At Angry Wargamer asks, how do you play bolt action? How do you play bolt action? Now I don't really know. Bolt action. I'm trying to think.
Couldn't answer that either, I'm afraid, because I don't know.
But if you don't know what it is, it's a World War II based game that's pretty much mostly tanks with some infantry. So I've never played it personally, but some people at the club that I occasionally go to here, like they play it, and it's basically just World War II, as far as my understanding of it is.
So that, in regards to that, then I've not played it. So I do apologise for that. At Omgil Alpha. Amigo on Amigo
Omegon Alpha.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What's the best Terminator to run? I love this question. Now, if we're talking all Terminators in general, I have to say the Scarab Oculate Terminators for the Thousand Suns. Just because you can also cast psychic powers, you can deep strike 9 inches away. Then again, all Terminators got that ability. But the fact that you can cast psychic powers as well makes them all that more better. And the fact that they have Inferno weapons, so you're also getting that -1 AP as a standard as well for their stuff. Might be going to P2 with some of the weapons. Either way, they are just nasty. So Scarab Oculate Terminators for these Thousand Suns is the best Terminators to run, in my opinion.
That's very bold. It's such a hard thing because every army uses them differently. But like one thing that's really been scaring me is a friend here has been playing a Khorne army, and his entire Terminator squad is twin lightning claws.
Wow.
Absolutely shreds. But the models look incredible. He used the Raptor claws from the Raptor kit, and it just looks awesome.
Now, I love this next question. At Dr. Plausible has said, how much DACA is too much DACA? Right. Now, I can confidently say
Never enough DACA.
there is never enough DACA. Like, DACA is love, DACA is life, you know? We all need our DACA, all of it. We got love our DACA. My boys, knobs, cracking, hoorah!
Never enough DACA.
Get some red tractors on them orcs.
Oh my days.
Yep, that's get those Bristolian orcs in. Now, in a part of this, we did have Repaints by Emily ask a few more questions.
Yes.
opinion on faking minis via 3D print depends, but
We sort of talked about this on the first one, where it's like, I don't know, it can be a good entry level for some people. I think it opens a lot of conversion opportunities. Like you can have like full 3D printed heads to make your army look unique. But I personally think after a certain point, it's a bit much. Like, I don't know. It's such a tricky thing that I don't really have enough investment in because I don't care. Like, if you brought a 3D printed army to a game against me and it looked decent, I wouldn't care. But if it was like a really shit print and then like you're like, oh, this is an orc boy, but it looks like it's just a blob, that's a bit different.
See,
Yeah.
and this is the point I agree with you, because I don't want the aspect of a 3D printed model ruining something that's been made by Games Workshop that they've put so much effort into, and you've got this model or a conversion that's meant to be similar to it, and it kind of destroys your love for that model. And I've seen this before, and I can't remember what it was. It was a Grey Knight model, and please excuse me because I do not collect Grey Knights. But it's the mech model they have.
Yep.
But I seen a 3D printed version of that, but they kind of had their own twist to it, and they kind of had like all these tentacles coming out of it and stuff like that. And it's just it didn't look right. I mean, I got to be honest, it looked something more like Ben 10 or something, like kid show.
See, I'm totally going to play devil's advocate here and say, to be fair, depending on what you're looking at, like what Average Wargamer said, is and what the purpose of the 3D printing element is for. Now, I'm not speaking about the gameplay or bringing it for like tournament, but if you're like passionate about the painting or kit bashing or like, you know, just models for models' sakes, I think the 3D printing revolution is absolutely awesome because
Right.
you get to see so much cool variations, and that uniqueness or originality or take on some existing models is great. And I don't think it's meant to detract from like what Games Workshop put out there, but if it inspires a whole other batch of models that have no other link to Games Workshop or are not used for like our work, like tabletop wargaming, I think it's fantastic. Like, you know, some of the models you get for like D&D, like the dragons, that they look epic.
Yeah.
But when you see like some of what the other 3D printing people are putting out there, and it's like half the price rather than paying like £300 from like Forge World and stuff, you know, like I can't argue with that. Like if people are going to go and invest in a 3D printer, then I think it's great they get the opportunity to make some of that, not to detract the attention from what's already in existence, but you know, because obviously when it comes to gameplay, not like you're saying, if they're not an accurate representation of what you're expecting, that's different. But for me, like I really like original things and like models that look totally different.
Yeah, that's fair. I think like I have seen some conversions that are nice, and sometimes it works, but I don't think it always works. And obviously, when it comes to 3D printing and Forge World stuff, I can respect that, because I understand that yes, Forge World is a lot of money, but I feel like over time you're gonna have to. I don't think you're always going to be able to get away with the 3D printing, because I know Games Workshop are cracking down on that stuff. But
Yeah, you mean use it for gameplay?
Yeah, I mean, I see why people do it for gameplay reasons, but if people just did it based on the creativity level only, then that's fine. I've not got a problem with it.
Yeah, for my Gene Stealer cult, my Primus model is actually like Kerrigan from StarCraft 2. And to me, that's awesome because she's a character that I've really enjoyed growing up. And now I can have a model of her leading one of my favorite factions.
That's so cool. Yeah.
I enjoy that a lot. And she was she's not 3D printed. She was made back when it was like resin casted.
Yeah.
But now, like the company that I bought her for have moved to 3D printed. So now, like the model of her is actually a lot better detailed. But like the one I have, just it fits in well. Like you can really respect, and it even has the right loadout, so you know exactly what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, here's
So-
the thing. I wouldn't have so much as a problem with 3D printed models for GW stuff if Games Workshop were okay with allowing you to do your own stuff. Because don't get me wrong, I've got a Guardian army and I'm doing them in a Resident Evil theme, but I would love to get the heads for like Leon, and all the other Resident Evil characters, but I can't do that because I won't be able to fill them. So
Yeah.
I do understand the frustration of not being able to go into a Games Workshop and not bring these 3D printed models. But
Yeah, like the copyright infringements and like breaches and things. Yeah.
I think what Games Workshop should do is, I think they could make a profit from it and be like, right, okay, here is you could say like you could buy a copy of the print from Games Workshop, but like you get so many prints, or you're given like a code to print it. So then it's like you cannot batch print these for like all your other mates or whatever. It's just you print them for yourself. You pay so much, they give you the print, and then you get the exact print of the model.
Yeah, you're meaning them having like permission to regulate what you can and can't print based on like models that they like approve or pre-approve, like exclusive for you or whatever.
Yeah, so it's like, if you want to pay, say you want to 3D print some Inkaby, for example, they'd be like, okay, yeah, this is like our code. Say you only get a squad of 5, which is standard. Yeah, you print your file, and then that's it. You've printed that file. Now that file's gone, you can't print another lot. You just bought that one fight for that fight.
It's just realistically, it's going to be a really hard thing, almost impossible to man, because it's like it's so vast out there, and like people are doing things that's original. Like, how are you going to put a cap in it? How are you going to police that? How are you going to make sure they don't print like that extra sneaky 6th one? It's like the way things are going out there. Like, what it's like black market 3D prints for like GW. Like, can you imagine? It's like it's one of them things that I love Games Workshop for what they do, but they're biggest enemies themselves sometimes, because they also have to adapt to the changes, the way culture's changing. So you probably touched on it before, but like when they were snapping up all the guys who are making content on YouTube, the controversy not around it. It's just how it's handled. They've just got to watch how they handle things. So the 3D printing generation is here. They can't escape it. They can't ignore it, but they also can't fully control it. They have to be more lenient, I think, in accepting certain things that's going to happen. And only because they can't control everything. And if they start trying to police it or putting out regulations that people can only use certain codes, or like I just think they're gonna bring bad publicity back on them again, and maybe alienate some people who are not doing it in a nasty way. It's just, it swings and roundabouts, isn't it? It's trying to get that balance. It's for them being able, obviously, to miss out on potential profit for them. But if people like Games Workshop for what they do, I mean, they make a killing. They make some serious money. They can't stick their claws into everything.
It's such a tricky thing, because like, no matter what they do, they're going to do something wrong, because there's no perfect way to handle the situation. I think if they got on board, like we've talked about with 3D printing, and gave out like found a way to sell files and stuff like that, it would help encourage it without them losing money. But then how far are those people going to go? Like, because once the files are out there, they're going to be pirated.
Exactly.
Like, think about the codexes.
Yeah.
Like, the codex's last edition was so easily accessible to just download, even though they're supposed to be $70 each, right? So now they've moved into the only physical copies and the app, which has really cut down on pirating, because like you can't just download the codex like you can. Like someone actually has to go and scan each individual page and upload it as a PDF. Like, it's a lot more work.
Yes.
But a lot of people have complained that now you don't get that physical, the PDF form anymore. But it's like they have to do it to protect that pirating. And I think that's where they're going to go wrong if they try and do the STL file thing, is that once they send a file out, people are going to copy it and then they're going to pirate it out.
That's the
So
risk
it's like,
they take. Yeah.
and it's such a hard thing to decide where to go from that, like, because that could ruin them more. If they put a file out there, let's say for orcs, because you need plenty of orcs in your army, and they put a file out, people can easily print 120 orcs. And, like, if that file is pirated, Games Workshop aren't going to make a cent off 120 orcs.
Exactly.
Which is like...
Which is why
Yeah.
I think they should completely avoid the 3D file thing, because it makes them more exclusive. If you want a Games Workshop official model, you buy the boxes, they come in, rather than going down the file route. And that way you'll never ever have that crossover, I think, of, you know, like, people making money off of something that they could do. They just have to leave that, I think, to other people who want to do it. Like, it's something you can't avoid. It's like a musician, you know, they can spend a year, like, cooped up in a recording studio, pouring their heart and soul into the instrumental of it, the track listing, the order that it plays in an album, to have someone, like, a couple of years down the line download one song. Like, the grand scale, if you're an artist, you're a musician, like, the whole point of having a full album, 12 tracks, is they're supposed to be played in a certain order. You know, they're supposed to be put out there and listened to in a certain order so that you get the feel of what that artist was trying to say. But there's no way for that person to be able to control if people download it or go out and physically buy it or just listen to one song, or as opposed to the whole album. Like, if that makes sense. It's like, once you put anything out there to public domain now, it becomes accessible for people to do what they want with it. And I think Games Workshop need to learn to, like, let go the reins a little bit, specialize in what they're good at, which is the model kits and things that they come up with for themselves, but not get inveigled in things like the 3D file printing and that as yet, because I think there's just too much red tape around it.
So in regards to all this, in the future of Games Workshop, and loads of people start getting 3D printers, do you think we will ever see an end to Games Workshop because people may just end up printing their own models? I mean, I can't see it, for one, because I think there are too many loyal people to the hobby. Bit like myself, guilty, but I also understand the frustrations, because if I had a 3D printer, I could be like, because I've got a missing part for my Forge model, for my Supremacy number.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, right, cool, I'll just print out the bit I need. There we go.
Let me ask you something, Wargamer. Do you still listen to songs from people like Elvis? Okay, maybe not your everyday thing. I'm just trying to give you an example. You know, it's like, he'll always be there. He's maybe not as prevalent as he was, but there will always be someone who has an Elvis record, who'll listen to an Elvis song, who'll bring up Elvis in conversation. He doesn't even physically live here anymore. He's passed away, but he's not forgotten. Games Workshop, despite what might happen to them over the next coming years, with like the 3D printing generation exploding, they're not going to disappear. They'll always be remembered. If anything, they're more prevalent because they're like one of the originals for what they did. They set the precedent for a lot of other like RPG things and that out there. So I don't think there's really a fear about them being pushed out from 3D printing. And I still think 3D printing is almost like a phase thing. It might be like a big thing just now, but it'll die down in a couple of years as well. It's like everything goes in cycles. So to get a 3D printer, it's really expensive. And there's some people I know have had 3D printers for years and never really, like, the novelty wore off. Do you know what I mean? So, like, again, it's just one of them things. It's like a passing phase to me. I think it might take off in some aspect, but not enough to ever overshadow or overthrow Games Workshop. I don't think they're in competition, to be honest. I think it's two separate things.
Yeah, fair enough. Although I got to admit, one thing I would love to see if Games Workshop do get to it in the future, hopefully we'll still be around by this happens, is I'm trying to think what it was, and I think it's the Star Wars chess where the models move by itself.
Cool.
You know, so imagine if the figure just kind of like moved itself down the board, and like, yeah, Incubi move 8 inches there, and then like, you know, fight those corn berserkers.
Yeah, that's
you
cool.
can actually
So, like,
walk on the board.
gameplay board would be epic. Totally.
Yeah, just like hologramic stuff. You're like, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's the future. It might not be our future, but it's definitely the future. That would be
Yeah, would be awesome. So moving on to the next question is best reason to start the hobby. I think you could have a load of answers for best reasons to start a hobby. I know that it's helped so many people, especially myself, who suffer mentally with anxiety, depression. But it's also like a big escape. You know, it gets out of your head. You're focused on the minis you're painting, or if it's playing the game, you're focused on strategy. Basically, it's basically chess on steroids.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah. So, but you know,
reason for starting the hobby. Best reason to get into the hobby.
I don't know. It's just, the community is great. Like we've talked about that a bit, but it's definitely just it's fun.
Yeah. I think like any hobby, the reason you get into it is pure escapism. Like you just said, Wargamer, it's escapism. It's to give you a break from the norm day to day, and particularly with something like this that requires a bit of concentration, but it's not too confusing or mind numbing. Almost, it's like it really helps combat a multitude of mental health issues we're maybe suffering with, whether it be the isolation, the loneliness, depression, anxiety, ADHD. The amount of people we've met in the community that all suffer from some of these kinds of issues have found peace and comfort in partaking in this hobby, and that for itself speaks volumes. So if you're looking for something to focus on that's not your day-to-day run-of-the-mill kind of task, or just pure escapism, and to have a bit of fun and to meet awesome people like us in the community, then it's definitely the main reason why you should start the hobby.
hell yeah, and I'm also going to include Warhammer World for this as well. You know, the fact that, and I don't know if Games Workshop ever will, and I have touched on this in the previous episode of the podcast, that Games Workshop, please bring back like trips. Please bring back things like Games Day, because when I was a kid, these were the things that got me into the hobby, and it was basically Legoland but just Warhammer. Like, it was like, it was all kind of like.
Yeah, that's so cool. I think they will, like, definitely. I think the way things are going, because it's took like a new lease of life again, surely, like over the next couple of years, they're planning on doing big scale events there again. Surely.
I mean, it would be good. And one thing I feel like they should do as well is get us TikTokers involved who really promote the hobby. So, you know, it'll be like, okay, so okay, us at Games Workshop, we have collabed with some Warhammer TikTokers. You know, I mean, especially people like Devon, Miniature War Games. You know, he is one of the biggest Warhammer TikTokers out there.
Yeah.
And it's just I know he's not far from Warhammer World, and it's like, even if he was to do something or go to one of these Games Days events and be like, oh, okay, you know, here's a little meet and greet for people that know him. You know,
It was good publicity for Warhammer and Games Workshop, because ultimately people like Devon Miniature War Games are encouraging other people to get into the hobby, which is increasing their sales. So as a thank you to them, like ultimately, like give them a freebie to come to Warhammer World, or like, you know what I mean? Everybody, like, I think it would paint them in a better light if, rather than these guys that are snatching up like these streamers and like people who are making content and making it look in a negative thing, which I don't think it is. I think it's awesome if they're offering them jobs, but at the same time, you know, there was a lot of controversy regarding that. People like us on TikTok that are promoting and saying how much we enjoy it, it's all free publicity for them. At the end of the day, we're not being paid to say these things, and it's encouraging sales. So like, you'd think they would think, well, you guys like us, we like you, let's all dance at Warhammer World and have a big party. It'll be great.
hell
I'm
yeah.
sure eventually they'll look into that because I know a lot of YouTubers that like. So you brought up Devin, which is a good example. So he's got what 10K followers on TikTok. So
Yeah.
something about YouTube is there are people out there with 5,000 subscribers, and Games Workshop will send them a codex early to review because Games
That would
Workshop
be
have come
good.
across them.
That's a
Right.
good.
So I think it's more of something that like they haven't gotten into that, like they haven't experienced that TikTok thing yet. Because essentially, like Devin's got twice the following that some of these YouTubers have, and Games Workshop are helping out those YouTubers.
Yeah,
So I'm
that's
sure
what,
it's something that if they
yeah,
realized what was happening on TikTok, it'd be a very different story.
for
Oh
sure.
yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like the thing is as well, and it's like the fact that because of TikTok, I got to meet Devon. I got to have a game with him. Yes, I got my ass kicked, but besides the point, it was good. Like the fact that he's willing to travel, I'm looking to sort of end up doing the same scale as him, do that traveling myself, meet all you guys, get some games in, do some TikToks, get these
Yeah.
collaborations. Awesome.
I'll need to pack my bikini if we're going to see Average Wargamer.
Yeah, all the way here in Australia. Yeah, it's nice.
That's a long ass flight.
So
It's worth it when you get here, though.
Oh, bless. I'm sure one day, honestly, one day I'll be hunting you down and be like, "Oh, coming over." And you'll be like, oh no.
I'm like, I just moved to England.
Oh,
I mean, it makes a trip to Warhammer older easier, to be fair. But talk about in the wonderful world of Warhammer, and this is the last question, and talk about Warhammer, and it's just this is pretty much, I think, the gold question to end it on is why are Space Marines so overrated?
stop. They're not overrated. Come on.
Like they're the poster boys. They're always gonna cop flack for it, but I think Space Marines as an idea are so freaking cool. Like
Totally.
Space Marines sold me on the hobby, so I can understand why they like get put on posters and everything. Because I'm a huge fan of Gears of War series.
Oh, Gears of War, don't get me started. Oh, it's my fave. It's my absolute
It's so
fave.
good though, isn't it? But
Yeah,
that's what got me started because the Space Marines reminded me of like Phoenix and
well,
like
that's so
the whole
surreal.
gang.
Yeah, totally. I'm the same because like Phoenix is my idol. Like I actually want to get a Marcus Phoenix tattoo. That's how dedicated I am to Gears. Like I
So
need
good.
to get.
My personal gamer tag is literally Everblight Phoenix.
No
Because
way. Oh, that's so
yeah.
good. Gears
So
is my
anyway,
favorite gaming franchise.
so good, and I love the way they're going with the new game. But anyway, the box set Battle for Macragge had Tyranids and Space Marines, and I was like, if that's not the Cog and
The
Locust, I
Horde.
don't know what is.
Yeah.
Like it literally sold me on the hobby is because I played Gears of War. So
It's so surreal how much other popular culture things have been influenced from Warhammer. I never recognized it till once I've been in it. I knew exactly what you mean. When I seen a Marine, I was like, that's like the dude's fake gears. That's so cool.
right. And yeah, from that I was like, all right, I'm gonna give it a go because that's pretty cool. And then like that's exactly it. I started because of Space Marines. So I get they're everywhere and I get that some people think they're overrated, especially once you go into other factions and see how cool they are, but they
Because
get people started.
you've got to respect them. They're the OG. They're the original. That is why you get drawn into it. So I understand why they get the love. I don't think they're overrated. I think they're just you've got to make peace and accept that they were like the original one that people fell in love with. So
Yeah, I think in my eyes, I think is a 50-50. It depends on the way you want to look at it. Some people say, oh, it's because they get all the new fancy toys and the new models, and from that point, I can understand because you look at the other armies and they don't have a lot compared to others. So in that aspect, I can understand. But in the way of not being overrated, I think Space Marines are generally great. I mean, I've got Space Force. So and they're fantastic. They do their job, and they're just a fun little army to play. They're not complicated. When you play a Marine faction, they're your standard bearer army. Where when I started, I had Eldar, so it was a very hard army to go into. So that's why I feel like they promote Space Marines as much as they can and say, look, this is the army you want to start with when you play.
Yeah.
Because you're guaranteed to get some wins in it at least, even if you're new. But, I think they're great, and especially when they did the whole Warhammer Space Marine game on the PS3 and Xbox 360.
Yes.
It was phenomenal. I still play it now on my PS3.
Yeah, it's just good to go pretend to be Space Marine for a while. Feels good.
Hell yeah. It's awesome.
So we know what we're cosplaying when we go to Warhammer World, yeah?
An orc.
No, you ruined it. I want to see you guys all this armor. Come on.
I will go as a Space Wolf Bloodclaw. I'll have a proper Viking drinking horn as well.
Nice.
Gotta be done.
That's cool.
I'll go as the Keeper of Secrets. Is that permitted? Can I get a boob out?
Well, Ash did it first.
I know. I
somehow
want to
thunder. 8 boobs. I mean, all the best. I have no idea how you're going to achieve it, but all.
Like a scene from Total Recall.
I just imagine you walk into like a plastic surgeon. They're like, "Oh, you're here for a boob job." I'm like, "I want 8." 8. What? I want 8 of them.
Why?
It's just for this thing. You don't need to worry. I just want 8.
He's like,
God
yeah,
damn.
do you play Warhammer? He's like, yeah, got ya.
Hey, to be fair, plastic surgeons probably had worse requests, so strange requests.
Just
I'm sure if you went to like Las Vegas or something, you could just walk in and I'll be like, all right, done. Not the weirdest thing of the night.
Money talks, does it? Like, I really will do a Papa Greed and sell my body before I can get to that level. It would make for an epic cosplay. The surgery's a bit scary, like, but yeah, totally.
But any model to cosplay as, damn, that's a tough one.
Oh, I don't know. I just keep thinking of how you would have to build them. Like, if money was no object and like I didn't have to physically build it, I don't know. There's too much to choose from.
Yeah, probably goes to Space Wolf for. Yeah, just because they're badass. I mean, I'd love to go on a Thunderwolf Cavalry, but how would you get on a big suit with a giant wolf? I mean, how would you do that?
This is like aesthetics is really difficult to like visualize how it works. It's
The
like
palettes on that would be.
yeah.
All right. Well, I've not got anything else.
No, and it's been really good chat.
Yeah, no, it has.
I applaud your multitasking average wargamer. That was impressive today. Thank you so much for having me as a guest, guys. I really appreciate it.
No worries.
I'm glad you could join.
Awesome. Take it easy.
All right, take care.
You too.
Cheers.
Catch you later. Bye.
See ya. Bye.